Hail hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now? We need a new goalkeeper? Who would have thought that? Hart has announced at the end of his Celtic contract this year he will be retiring from football. So there's no contract extension, there's no Hart next year. And the quotes that came out from the club, it's like, oh yeah, well, now we know Joe's not going to be here next year. We can start to plan in earnest ahead of the new season. But surely we knew he was out of contract in the summer anyway, and players just don't retire out of the blue. I've got a funny feeling he would have probably let Celtic know before the January transfer window. So it becoming public now isn't it becoming determined, let's just say. So Celtic really should have their scouting way underway. Ducks should really be in a row. And yeah, I understand it can be really hard to buy someone's #1 goalkeeper off them mid-season. And if that's what a lot of the quotes from the board and whatever are referring to in the January window, then whatever, fair play. But with some of the other targets we didn't get, like a left back and one or two others, there's no excuses. But anyway, we roll into the summer now with the high expectations that Celtic need to get a #1 established goalkeeper to come in. Hopefully we've got Champions League secured, but maybe we need to qualify. So there's no room for error. There's no going and getting a little academy project guy and trying to bleed them in and try and give him minutes. We need guys that have got serious reps under their belt at some level of the elite level of professional football across Europe, ideally. In the video today, I'm going to be looking at the top goalkeeper candidates across Europe's top 5 leagues that Celtic should be identifying for this summer transfer window to replace Hart. At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 10,000 subscribers, boys and girls. We cannot do that without your support. So if you enjoy content like this and you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button to let us know that as well, and get into the comment section. Just let us know. Who do you think is your favourite goalkeeper in the video, or who's the most likely? And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, Celtic being Celtic, we love to shop in the Premier League and we love to not spend that much money. So I think the #1 target ID strategy for Celtic is probably going to be a little bit of what we call relegation lover. We're looking to see the teams that get relegated from the Premier League, maybe some relegation clauses get activated, some players want to move out, they're sick of being bottom of the table, they want to get back into Europe and win some titles. And the #1 candidate that comes to my mind when I cross my fingers and pray that they've got an attractive relegation release clause is Muric. The Man City CFG wonder kid signed for Burnley, got them promoted after having seasoned goalkeeping experience already in Holland and in Turkey, as well as playing a couple of games for Man City and some cups and all the rest of it. But he is not featured in the Premier League one bit. Since moving into the Premier League, Burnley signed another Man City wonder kid, James Trafford, and he's played every single game. And you've got to imagine if Burnley get relegated, they've invested a Premier League season in Trafford. He's going to be the #1 in the Championship, which means a guy like Muric, who cost Burnley 20 million quid, is now going to be surplus to requirements and will be on the market. Would a loan option to buy thing maybe come into the factor in? I hope so. But Muric is everything you want in a modern goalkeeper. Built like Fraser Foster, is a bit of a wall, but can do the passing, can do the sweeper keeper stuff. And we really, really hope that he's got a relegation release clause in him. Another team that now looks certain to go down, certainly they're right in amongst it now with the whole Everton thing that's going on, is Nottingham Forest. But they've actually just signed a goalkeeper in January in Matt Sells, the Belgium #2 and #3 goalkeeper. After in the summer, they already signed Greek #1 Odysseas Flashodonymous from Benfica. Now, Odysseas is a pretty good goalkeeper. I don't know if he's my #1 pick that Celtic should go and get, but he's played Champions League, been very good for Benfica over his time there, and in the Premier League he's had 5 games. Hard to imagine anyone in the Premier League is going to try and sign this guy, or even Nottingham Forest are going to want to keep a hold of him beyond this season. But again, a guy with good pedigree and international with Champions League experience. This is his Benfica Champions League record. Very formidable for a goalkeeper. Conceding 3 goals to Inter Milan and Juventus is always going to hurt your rating out of 100. But as you can see here, top opposition, top scores, and the sort of teams that Celtic want to keep clean sheets against, that's what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, who hasn't been battered by Bayern Munich? I think we've all been there. But the other goalkeeper that Nottingham Forest signed in the summer, who I thought would have been a great Celtic candidate when he was in MLS, is American #1 Matt Turner. Now, since going to the Premier League, my opinions maybe changed on him a little bit in terms of how good he could be in European football, having come from MLS. But Matt Turner, no two ways about it, is a very, very good shot stopper. could be better with the ball at his feet. In the Premier League for Nottingham Forest, he's been okay. And while at Arsenal, his parent club, who he's on loan from at Nottingham Forest, he mainly just played like some Europa League games or whatever. Again, with him being recently just bought by Nottingham Forest in the summer, you've got to imagine, again, similar to Odysseas, there's going to be relegation release clauses in here for all three of these goalkeepers on number one at international level. All of them are going to want to be at the top end of European football. And with Muric, Odysseas and Turner, I think the allure of trophies and European football would be a huge one. Again, maybe there's individual question marks over Odysseas and Turner if they would be good enough. But when you compare them to Angus Gunn, who has been linked by a lot of Celtic fans, I think I would rather one of these three guys. Gunn's great, he's been doing good for Scotland and stuff, but at 28 years of age from Norwich, I think he's going to cost probably more than some of these goalkeepers in terms of how difficult a deal would need to be done, the actual fee associated with it. And then you've got a guy who's never played Champions League football, barely has even played in the Premier League, who at 28 should be in the peak of his career. Now, the kind of contrast to that is Kelleher, of course, who it really does feel like he's not leaving Liverpool anytime soon now, to be honest with you. I think he's probably really comfortable after that cup win with his status in the squad. Now, even if he does leave in the summer, the sort of fee Liverpool are after is way beyond Celtic, and I don't imagine them doing us a favour with a favourable loan or whatever. So I think Kelleher could be probably onto the just isn't going to happen pile. Now, when we leave England and we start to look across Europe, the first place that my attention gets drawn to is Germany, because Peter Gulasci and Pete the Wall, he's in the twilight of his career, kind of similar to how we found Joe Hart. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and he's not been the number one for Leipzig now for a year. He has had a couple of injuries, but Leipzig are going to be signing Martin van de Boer, a wonder kid goalkeeper, so this guy's probably not going to be featuring too much. A top-end Bundesliga goalkeeper, a guy that's played in the Champions League semi-final, won some cups and done all the rest of it. This is a guy who, transfer fee-wise, could probably be quite cheap. And again, his motivations and aspirations for his next club is going to be number one status and playing in this kind of environment. So it's definitely an option I think we should look at if he is fit, if his injuries aren't anything to worry about. But the guy that really jumps off the page when you look at the Bundesliga and the goalkeeper kind of cycle is, again, perennial Belgium number 2 and number 3, Koen Casteels, who is out of contract in the summer. And the only real links that he's had so far is Sevilla and Saudi Arabia. Now, both of these moves would offer him a lot more money probably than Celtic, but Sevilla are not going to be in European football next year for the first time in what feels like an eternity, to be honest with you. And I don't see him, if he's not already accepted the Saudi offer, I don't see him changing his tune on that in the summer. This guy has been at Wolfsburg, has been playing at a good level across European football across his entire career, but in his time as Wolfsburg number 1, he's only captured 7 caps for Belgium, and that's been while Thibaut Courtois has been injured. He's had 2 Champions League campaigns and 2 Europa League campaigns, so this is a guy that's been at the top of the game without ever really making a name for himself or really strutting his stuff on the big stage. And I think that's the sort of offer he's holding out for. He wants to come, I believe, to a team like Celtic where he can be a hero, be top of the food chain, win stuff and compete again on a regular basis in this final chapter of his career at the top end of European football. Now, we all felt coming into this summer that a goalkeeper would have probably been on the transfer menu, especially if Ange Postecoglou was still his manager, because you did feel that that development of the team was going in that direction where the lack of distribution from the goalkeeper was slowing Ange Ball down. And it's no surprise to me that as soon as Ange went to Tottenham, they needed a goalkeeper too, and he knew someone to sign, and he signed him like that. And this was a guy that probably could have been signed by Celtic and Guillermo Vicario from Empoli in Serie A. This should be a team that we would have been able to sign a goalkeeper for, and I've got a lot of faith that he was probably on our to-do list, on our radar, before Ange made the switch to North London. And in that kind of same mould, is there another Serie A goalkeeper that is doing really well, has been doing really well for a couple of years, but is at one of the minnows? And when you see the goals conceded column, it might make you overlook him. You don't see what he's actually doing in terms of saves and, you know, contributions for his team. And the number one guy that jumps out for me right now is Wladimiro Falcone of Lecce. For the last couple of seasons, he's been a very handy goalkeeper, very good shot stopper. And yeah, like you can see here, Lecce can be absolutely spanked by teams, but they are a minnow outfit. And these are the bigger teams in the division. But this is a guy who can make saves. He actually won a penalty in this match. How crazy is that? Penalty save against Roma. And again, lots of matches where even if he's getting the clean sheet, he's making lots of saves to make sure the clean sheet happens. And in some of the games where he's not been keeping the clean sheet, he's still been very active, a very good goalkeeper. And he shows a lot of the same kind of raw minerals that someone like Vicario would have shown. It did show. But for me, in European football, La Liga has got so many slept-on elite keepers You wouldn't believe it. The number one guy for me that we should be looking at from La Liga is Jeremias Ledesma, or Conan. This Argentinian youth international, he's now 31, is a fantastic hero of a goalkeeper. But he's at Cadiz, again, another really small team. And if they get relegated, he's definitely going to be leaving. This is a guy that's always kind of in and around the Argentina team. But because in Europe, he's never really cracked it in terms of getting into a big team and being an established number one. Again, he's just never really got his career in Europe up and going. There's a lot of rumours linking him back to Argentina, to the likes of Boca Juniors and some of the more elite teams that will go on to do Copa Libertadores and Club World Cup and all that kind of thing. But there's no way at 31 years of age. This guy doesn't want to win medals in Europe. This guy doesn't want to get into the Champions League with a historic team and be that goalkeeper that can make the difference in those big games. Along with Ledesma, I would be seriously considering Sergio Herrera. Now, Osasuna are one of the most boring teams to watch in La Liga. They're very defensive, but this guy ticks all the boxes. Like, he's big, he makes great saves, and he's got great distribution with his feet. And Osasuna have been one of the banana skin teams in La Liga and in the Copa del Rey over the last couple of years. Have actually qualified for the Europa League once or twice as well in recent years. And this is a goalkeeper who, if he played for Sevilla or Real Sociedad or whatever, you would clearly see his credentials against the elite in that division a lot clearer, and he would be priced out of Celtic's budget. But finding him at Osasuna, he's been there for a good number of years. This might be the right time where he wants to move on and move his career up a notch. Similar to former Serbia number one, Predrag Rajkovic. Now, he's actually been at Mallorca now for a couple of seasons, and I thought this was a huge opportunity missed for us when he was leaving France, when he was Serbia number one. He's a bit smaller for a goalkeeper, very agile, very cat-like, makes very good saves, and is very good distribution-wise. Again, similar to all the other goalkeepers we've featured, is at a team that isn't strong, isn't dominant in their division, so he faces lots of shots. He's a very good shot stopper, but if you look at the statistics, he does concede because he's at a smaller team. At 28 years of age, he's still got the best of his career to come, and like I've already mentioned, he's lost the national team jersey. So a move to Celtic, coming back into the European reckoning as well, could be what his career needs, and that could be a good one, a good kind of match made in heaven. Again, jury's still kind of out a little bit if he could reach that level, because at Mallorca, he's been good without being great. And as regular viewers of the channel will know, the number one goalkeeper in La Liga I think Celtic should go and try and sign is David Soria. This guy is brilliant. He's maybe not the best with distribution, but what a goalkeeper. He saves everything, he saves penalties, he can hit the ball long, he can pass pretty well, don't get me wrong. And again, I just think this guy's so slept on, it's untrue. I've recommended 10 goalkeepers in this video. We've actually spoken about 12 if you include Gunn and Kelleher. I'll be really excited and really interested to catch the comments on this video once it's been out. Let me know down below if you were Celtic Director of Football or Head of Scouting, which of these goalkeepers for you best fits the bill. I've tried to give us guys that should all be within price range, so I don't want to hear anyone saying he's too expensive. On screen there now is some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Hail, hail.